Legacy has been an interesting format for me to try out, and as someone who refuses to experiment with different decks, playing merfolk has been a struggle, yet I've been taking your advice and I thought it was time to make another video covering the format, and I haven't really changed the deck list since then, so let's just get straight into it. So this game we're on the play, and this opening hand, it's not the best, honestly. It's a little slow, and because we're on the play, we don't really know if we should play Tideshaper out on turn 1 or not, but I figured let's just let this slide. And remember, this is my second time playing Legacy on the channel, so I'm still not trying League. I think I'm gonna do like just casual tournament practice games on here until like the 4th game, which I do on the channel, which will be on the 4th game will be like an actual league. But I've been practicing a little and trying to take your advice, but still definitely not that good with the format. So here we have an option to like kick a Tideshaper or hold up Vidalian Hexcatcher. Playing Master of the Pearl Trident, you don't really want to play Master out right now. And I decided to leave up the Hexcatcher because it's not really worth it to seize a Tundra. But they play a Brainstorm. And I'm like, do I counter this? And I want to slow my opponent down as you guys said, use resources like as quickly as possible and try to not let your opponent get too much advantage. So I don't know if this was the right play since, you know, that's a Vidalian Hexcatcher, which is pretty valuable, but I wanted to like try to be pretty aggressive and see how that works out. So our opponent fetches here, that's fine, and they grab a snow-covered forest, no problem with that. They play Preordained, nothing we can do about it, and, you know, everything our opponent plays right now will just resolve. So we draw Aether Vial, that's pretty bad right now, but whatever. And I decided, okay, well, I'm not doing too much, so I guess I'll cast out the Tideshaper and just target their Tundra. And I'll also cast a Tideshaper after I seize their Tundra. You could argue casting Master of the Pearl Trident instead of Tideshaper, but you don't really, okay, there's also Swords to Plowshares to Tideshaper, which is fine. But yeah, you could argue playing out the Master instead of the Tideshaper, but I really don't like leading out with my Lords early. And remember, Tideshaper will swing for more damage next turn when you play out the Master, compared to, because the Tideshaper will be a 3/3 next turn if you play Master of the Pearl Trident. The Master of the Pearl Trident is still going to be a 2/2 unless I play out my other Master of the Pearl Trident. So it's kind of nicer to have that Tideshaper out because we'll be able to swing for more damage. So I always play Silvergill first, Tideshaper first, and I just kind of wanted to save my Tideshaper to get value when it came to the second turn that game. And if this was game 2 and I knew my opponent was playing this many islands, I would have played Tideshaper out turn 1, but because I didn't know, I kept the Tideshaper in hand. Our opponent, they played Baleful Strix, that's fine, and then they pass right here. So obviously we're going to uptick that Aether Vial, and we could play out Otawara and double Lord with the Master of the Pearl Trident, so that's pretty nice. But even better, not even better, we drew an island so we can keep the Otawara in hand just in case we need to bounce something. I cast the first Master of the Pearl Trident, that's great, and I was like, okay, let's just like really get out there, cast both the Master of the Pearl Trident. Now I don't really have any interaction, but you know, we've got like an unblockable 6 damage going right now, well, next turn, so it's not terrible, it's not bad, you know what I mean? Gotta let the Brainstorm resolve. There's nothing we can do right now other than just like hope our opponent doesn't instantly kill us, you know. Alright, they play Prismatic Vista, they fetch, that's totally fine, but yeah, we can bring our opponent down 6, so they'll be at 11, which is pretty good. Now they play Jace, and I believe they decided to Brainstorm, which is fine by me. And it's nice that it's at 3. If it was at, if they plussed it, or, well, they wouldn't plus it, but if it was at 4, it'd be more frustrating since we'd have to attack both Masters to kill it, but we can just attack one Master of the Pearl Trident at Jace, and the other one at our opponent's face. So that's pretty nice. And we draw a Silvergill Adept, and because I don't want to play out my Otawara and then pay 5 mana to cast it, I just Vialed it in right now to see what we can get. Drew Tideshaper, and I'm like, okay, Tideshaper, that's not terrible, but not great. I'm like, you know what? I'll keep that in hand right now, and I'll play a second main. So, I tapped 1 on Jace and 1 at my opponent. I believe the opponent just, like, took all that damage, let the Jace die. And second main, our opponent made a pretty big mishap here. So, I decided to, I was like, okay, well, let's play the Tideshaper and target their Either Demir, let's target the Demir dual land. So I'm like, let's do that. So I cast out the Tide Shaper, and my opponent, they feel the need to force of will the Tide Shaper. First of all, that's an insane play for a Tide Shaper. Second of all, I used Cavern of Souls to cast it, and my opponent tried Force of Willing it. That was a pretty good feel good for me, honestly. They Force of Will a Tide Shaper, and because I used Cavern of Souls, it didn't get counted. That was pretty funny, alright? Now, our opponent's kind of desperate right now, so they go through some cantrips. They try to find some answers to what we have on board, I believe. Yeah, so they play the Ponder, then they go and Ponder again, because they can't ponder enough, apparently. And, then they conceded. Now, the thing is, here I was going into sideboarding, and our opponent just scooped, right? So, I should have probably recorded a different game and done that. But I'm pretty tight on time right now, and I have a really big project for, well, not big project, but pretty exciting project I'm working on for Lord of Modern that definitely a very interesting opinion, so I really want to get that video out. So not that much gameplay for today, but I really wanted to get some legacy content out, and I will see you next time.